Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Need to Nerd podcast. I'm your host, just like every week, Spencer Howland, and I'm joined by my co-host, a man back from the beach, and ready to talk about E3, Wes Singleton.
That is so many more E's than there are in the beach. By one more beach, one more E.
Is it more E? I mean, there's only one E in E3.
No, there's three.
No, the 3 is a numeral.
I'm not gonna argue with this about this, Spencer, but there are definitely 3 E's in E3.
All right. Well, we are going to talk about E3 this week. Obviously, we're 4 days late to the party. I'm sure that you've all heard what everyone else is excited about, but they're not us. And the reason you come to this podcast is to hear us talk. So you get to hear us talk about E3. Before we do that, West, where should people go if they want to talk about other people? Talk about this kind of stuff with other people.
They should go to our Discord, which they can find the link to in our show notes.
They can. Every week, the link is in the show notes. If you want to see Scotty P post memes that will upset you and make you want to find him and fight him like he did the other day, check out our Discord. Have you seen his meme?
Come fight people in our Discord, everyone. That's the selling point.
You'll literally want to physically assault the man because he posted a Lost Dog poster about Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. So
I didn't get that far to figuring that out. So thank you. I now can get mad.
See, you didn't know. You were like, "What is this Lost Dog?" Now you're upset.
Of course I am. Why wouldn't I be?
You're like, what? Why is he posting a Lost Dog
Good thing
poster?
I've got Scar on speed dial so that I can go murder
Yeah, just freaking A, Scotty. But no, it is actually a great place to talk to other nerds just about stuff like this, as well as, get random money for MTGO. Sometimes I want to give away like Amazon gift cards, stuff like that. So check it out. The Discord, like you said, it's linked in the show notes. If you like what we're doing, you want to support us directly, head on over to patreon.com/HeezyGameMedia. Man, West.
One day.
I'm just tired. I don't know what the goal is. I think that the way that you and I talk about what we want for this is more of more stuff outside of the podcast. So it makes sense to have it under the umbrella of Heezy. I don't know. Either way, check it out. Heezy Game Media on Discord or on Patreon.
If you become our patron on Patreon, you will force us to lock in as Heezy Game Media. Let me put it that way, because it'll be harder for us to change the name after we have a patron than before.
Well, it also would be harder because Heezy Game Media is an actual company.
That's true.
Oh, you don't mean of Heezy Game Media, of the Patreon?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
The Patreon.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
I mean, we could make a new one. I don't know.
Well, I'm just saying
that one's
you could lock us in. You could deny us the choice right now.
That one's got old Patreon rates, though. So
push the button.
Do push the button. Do push it. Let's talk about our Nerd Fact of the Week. I wanted this week's Nerd Fact of the Week to be video game related. And it was funny. A while ago, I had found out that GTA 5 was the most purchased video game ever by like a substantial margin, which makes some sense. I was a little surprised it wasn't Skyrim, because Skyrim has been made so many times that I would assume it was Skyrim, but apparently GTA 5 also has been made and re-released a bunch of times. But not only is GTA 5 the most purchased video game of all time, for a long time, Wes, did you know it was the most expensive game ever made?
I didn't, and I can't believe someone spent more money on video game of Steel Car than someone spent on movie of Sink Ship.
Which movie are we talking about?
The Titanic.
Oh. Yeah, so the estimation for GTA 5's cost was $265 million. And when I was looking at like the most expensive games ever made, like there are some pretty expensive ones. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, $200 million. That game was huge, one of the most successful games ever. Star Wars: The Old Republic, its ongoing cost has come up to as much as $200 million. Final Fantasy VII, 145 million. Max Payne 3, 105 million. West.
Final Fantasy VII, the original release was 145 million.
That's what this article says. I wonder if that's.
At the time,
I think
right?
so. The thing is that it was only 45 million to make, but its total budgeting cost was 100 million.
Well, good marketing.
Or its marketing budget was 100 million.
No wonder everyone loves that game.
Yeah, and that's a lot of marketing dollars.
You could have just plastered Aerith on a poster and put that up everywhere and get people to buy the game, but they went way harder.
Yeah, I don't know that the remake needs that much marketing at this point.
People will do their own marketing for that game.
Yeah, it's true. They really, really, really do. Red Dead Redemption was only 100 million to make. It's funny how most of these games on this list are like pretty.
How much was 2048?
Not on the list. However, Grand Theft Auto 5 is not the most expensive game ever made anymore, and it got blown the freaking heck out of the water. And it honestly, the reason is that what I believe is the reason the RPGs were ruined for the last few years, because everybody tried to create their own version of this, with Destiny coming in at $500 million to make.
Wow.
So first of all,
I was surprised to learn that it made that money back.
Oh yeah, Destiny. It's funny because I bring this up because we're going to talk about a new RPG that's going to come out on this episode, and I wanted to talk about the effect that Destiny had on RPGs in the recent video game era. And I think it ruined RPGs because everyone tried to make another Destiny, but Destiny is not this thing that you can have 7 of, right? Because it's this RPG that requires people to be, married to their game, like Magic the Gathering or like competitive Magic the Gathering or stuff like that. You can't just play 60 hours of Destiny and then be happy with it, because it's an experience, right? And so you see games like Anthem, right? I was so excited for Anthem. I was so excited to buy Anthem, and everybody, it was just a Destiny knockoff, and all of these RPGs just started coming out as like these other Destinies. And
Which is funny because there's a different RPG that a whole bunch of people are copying, and I think they're very much right to be copying that RPG.
Which one are you thinking of?
The one we're going to talk about in just a minute, or at least it's a prequel.
Well, there's only one really that's a copy of that, right?
There will be many.
There could be many. We'll kind of see. I think that they're copying the aesthetic more than they're copying the, like.
Give me Glider. Give me Glider. That's all I want. I just want Glider.
Well, we will be talking about that.
Which is a great lead-in, Spencer. What is the thing you are third most excited about?
I love that you asked the third, because this week we are doing our top 3s for E3.
C3s.
The three
top
E3.
3s.
Yeah, exactly.
The 3s.
So I actually had a hard time coming up with 3, because there was a lot that I was excited about. First of all, I've never played Advance Wars, but I knew that was going to be on West's list somewhere, so I didn't want to pick that one. West called Super Monkey Ball, which I was super excited about. So
I dibs that one. I didn't dibs Advanced Wars. You just gave that one to me.
Yeah, I knew I didn't need to. You didn't need to dibs it. But I am really excited about Breath of the Wild 2, which is a great transition, a great point to bring up, West. Here's the thing about Breath of the Wild 2 so far. We don't know a lot.
Yeah, it's all smoke and mirrors right now.
We saw some gameplay, which was really sweet during this E3. I think the things that they gave us during this E3 was kind of a teaser trailer in a lot of ways to what I'm sure is going to be Nintendo's direct for it. Where they reveal the last Smash character, they do a teaser trailer for Metroid Prime 4, and then they talk about gameplay of Breath of the Wild 2.
They can take a long time to give us more details about Breath of the Wild 2, because are we seeing it anytime soon, Spencer?
According to you, no, because there's not a release date, but you're saying 2023.
They're saying maybe late 2022, and I don't believe him.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that one of the things that I've been trying to do with Breath of the Wild 2 is not have expectations. I think one of the reasons that I really don't love Majora's Mask the way that other people love Majora's Mask is I think it might be like one of the first video games that I had high expectations of. Um, and so for Breath of the Wild 2,
And Majora's Mask is like a weird game to walk into with any expectations about what's going to happen. Like
right.
you just cannot you cannot be prepared for that experience.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, the reason that I'm excited about Breath of the Wild 2 is an expansion of this really amazing world that I got to explore. And, you know, I think that it'd be a little silly. It's funny to me how much gets caught up in the Zelda timeline story for people, because I don't know that there's a lot of merit to the story of Breath of the Wild. Like, it's fine. Like, it's just a hero's tale.
I liked the story of Breath of the Wild 2 is interesting because all of the interesting facets of the story are 100 years ago.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see. Like, we saw them go up, and we saw Link up in the sky. We saw, something clearly happened to his arm. And there are all kinds of things that are being speculated too. Like, people are like, that's not Link. A pretty common thing is that they're tricking us, and the blonde hair. Apparently, there's been another video game where they've done this, where the reason that Link's hair is so long and that his arm looks different is because it's not actually Link, and that what he's seeing
us the Zelda
what they're seeing
character.
No, what they're and that his hair is actually red because in the I'm just gonna tell people this. If you don't want potential spoilers, that I don't think this is true, but I just want to say what's going on. So, spoiler warning for something that I don't believe is going to happen.
Hypothetical spoiler warning,
yeah.
everyone.
So basically, people think that this is actually the story of Ganon being the hero of time before he's corrupted. Because in the first game, in the artwork for like that they show the beasts and stuff, the hero that in the artwork, his hair is red, not blonde. And people think that it was actually Ganon.
Fascinating.
I don't think that's true.
Sounds like a Jar Jar Binks red herring to me, but that's okay.
Darth Jar Jar. Let's be clear.
Darth Jar Jar for sure.
Yeah.
Darth Jar Jar.
Here's the thing. What do they need to give me to make me happy with Breath of the Wild 2?
Hang glider.
I think the glider is cool. I think that what I'm looking for out of a sequel to this game is like it's hard because in Breath of the Wild 1 I explored. I did what I wanted to do, and then I just went and beat the game.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I'm expecting from this. I don't know that I have any expectations.
Yeah, I think that, like, you want to have that same feeling at some point during this game that you do when you, like, reach the top of a new mountain in Breath of the Wild, right? That feeling of, like, what am I going to see? Obviously, it's probably not going to be, like, climbing a new mountain is probably not going to do it for us anymore. But, like, it's going to have to be what's on the other side of this thing? What's in the box? What's like the big way where, like, I just get to, like, have this whole thing in front of me and I'm just going to have to pick how I'm going to explore it.
I think that for me, I want more than just a feeling of discovery in this game. Like, I'd like a little bit more depth to the game.
Stakes?
Yeah, something. Like, the feeling of discovery was awesome. But the fact that, like, I could just mess around the whole time, there was nothing pressing me to do anything.
Yeah. It is kind of like a freeze frame. Like, from the moment you walk out of that cave to the moment you beat Ganon, like, it is one very long time, doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of time that I was messing around especially once I got Gale. And it could just, there was a lot of messing around happening.
Fly anywhere you want.
Yeah. But I'm excited for this. I think that, changes to the interface and mechanics are the thing that I probably want the most. Like, I'd like to not... One of the things that, like, I think that the easy criticism of Breath of the Wild 1 was just I didn't use my good weapons because I didn't want my good weapons to break.
Yeah,
I don't even care. Just let me repair my weapon somewhere. Like, give me a smithing option, or I don't know.
yeah. Give me an ability to buy those good weapons, like right. There's just like have some way for you to like not feel bad about it.
Do you want to stagger top 3, or do you just want me to go through mine?
Sure, let's stagger it.
Okay, what's your third? The thing you're the third most excited for from E3.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to one that brings me nostalgia the same way it brought everyone nostalgia when Elon Musk was on Saturday Night Live, and which is like a slight feeling like you want to vomit a little bit, but also like you want to see where this is going. And those of you who have been listening, that means that you've guessed it. I'm excited about the new WarioWare game that's coming out this September. I played a good amount of WarioWare on the Wii when I was a kid, and those were some really fun mini games and a good time with some friends. And also played a good bit of the handheld WarioWare game with the gyroscopic sensors on the Game Boy Advanced, both of which were sweet games, and I'm excited to see what they do with this one.
Yeah, is that the WarioWare Inc. Mega Micro Games, or is that a different one?
That might I think it actually came out paired with the Game Boy Advanced Micro. Do you remember this little device? This like this big. The game cartridge for WarioWare was like as big as the device. It was sweet.
I've never actually played a WarioWare game. The only games that I've played are the Wario Land games. Like I played, I think Wario Land 2 and Wario Land 4.
And those were on just the straight up Game Boy, right?
Wario Land 4 was on Game Boy Advance. Wario Lands, I think 1, 2, and 3 were on the Game Boy Color. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's gonna be sweet. 2-player will make it an interesting experience. I sure hope to find myself in a place in my life where I can play games with other people in person.
You can come to my house whenever you want.
Otherwise, I'm kidding. It's one of the challenges. But I think that it's going to be a sweet little game. And I mean, I think one of the questions that people have about games like these, where you kind of just want to try it, maybe this feeds into what excites you about everything in life, Spencer, is like you want to try out games and not have to pay full price for them. Hearing a lot of Xbox Game Pass commentary recently as people are like, yeah, guess what? I can try out the game and decide it's bad and I don't have to pay a penny.
Yeah, I mean, I literally bought like $100 controller and a brand new phone before Xbox Game Pass came to the... Like, my Pixel 5 is so that I can play Game Pass on it.
Yeah.
So.
Which seems sweet. I'd love to see this WarioWare game be like if they're spending the amount of money making this game where they have to charge us $60 just to make their money back, they're making a bad investment, I think. So I'm hoping that they went a bit lighter on the game and can sell it at a lower price point, because I think that this isn't a game people are going to put 60 hours into. But I do think it'll be fun. I think it will be kind of cool, and I'm hoping it'll be the sort of game where only like one of you and your friends need to buy it, because it's just going to be you and your friends hanging out playing it together.
Yeah. I would expect this game to be like $45, $55.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be sweet. Some of the new style of doing it, where they can have two people on the screen and like the individual characters approaching the mini games in different ways, I think will make for a fun little, because at this point we've all just played a million Mario Party style mini games in our lives, and so any way to mix it up is going to be really cool as well.
So my number 2 is probably the biggest surprise of E3 for most people.
It's the one I've heard the most chatter on, and it's not close.
And also, I got really hyped watching this.
See, while you were playing this game's predecessors, I was just playing the game that I'm going to talk about as my first pick. So
it's funny though, because so we're going to talk about, for what it's worth, we're going to talk about Metroid Dread really quick. And actually, the first time I ever played any Metroid game was after picking up Samus in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
That's good, because I'm pretty sure I've barely even played Samus in Super Smash Bros.
Like, I think I played Prime on the DS when it came out.
I wasn't cool enough to have a DS when Prime came out. I didn't get a DS till so much later. Prime was done by the time I got a DS.
But I don't know that I ever beat it. My point is this, that I played Super Metroid for the first time last year or the year before, and I'd never played one of those Metroidvania games before, other than I might have tried Fusion once.
Kirby.
That's not a Metroidvania.
Kirby games are totally Metroidvania games.
No, they're like platformers.
It's like side-scrolling.
It's like It's like a Yoshi's story game.
All right, we can get into this later, but I'm looking it up. Is Kirby's Kirby Adventure
leave
or whatever?
Leave a comment. Let us know if you think that Kirby is Metroidvania. Either way, I loved what I've gotten through in Super Metroid, and there are a lot of interesting, I don't know, there's something special about 2D games like this, and it's funny too because we see it with Celeste, Super Meat Boy, these side scroller games. There's a simplicity to them. I think that one of the things that I really respect about Nintendo and the US guy Bowser, the guy in charge of the US side of the business, came out and was talking about new hardware, because one of the things that didn't come out of E3 was a Switch Pro, which a lot of people expected. And he talked about our goal with hardware is to enhance gameplay. And if it doesn't do that, we're not going to spend the money to make that happen. And the Switch's library is so big compared to the Xbox and the PlayStation, because it has given opportunities for indie companies to really take advantage of what the Switch is capable of and just do that. And I think that Metroid Dread looked like this beautiful 1080p version of Metroid that I really want to play. That has that simplistic feel to it. Don't get me wrong.
When has Nintendo ever been like, here's where we're gonna get you. Here's where we're gonna get you by the shirt. Graphics.
Well, it's funny too, because they do love their gimmicks though, right? The thing about the Switch is they hit the gimmick out of the park. Mm-hmm. But they had the same gimmick for the for the Wii U.
And then they took the thing that wasn't part of the gimmick and they said, get rid of that.
Yeah.
And it was awesome.
I think that, and while the Wii had amazing games, I was playing literally the other day. My wife and I put in Zelda Twilight Princess again because we want to beat that, and just picking up that Wiimote, I'm like, this sucks so bad.
Yeah.
This sucks so bad.
To this day, have never owned a Wii, and it's absolutely because even as I came into the means of being able to maybe purchase one, just no interest in that regard.
Yeah, and I think that the simplicity of what they're doing with Metroid Dread is a huge selling point for me. It is bare bones fun. And the goal is a fun experience, and that
fun being hunted and insta killed.
Sure. But yeah, that's my number 2. I think it looks beautiful. I thought Samus's suit looked sweet. I thought that the graphic, I don't know, that mix of the 1080p on the 2D, it looked really cool.
And I think that from what we've seen of gameplay, right, there's that planing from the point of view 3-dimensional visual. The cinematics into the cutscenes into the gameplay looked really sweet. It's funny too, because I think that one of the things, you look at Celeste, right, and I think that Celeste has done a lot to make people understand that depression.
I have not finished Celeste yet, just so you know. I got really sad playing it. Anyway,
I mean, it's not so much what were you expecting, but way to go.
I didn't
The
know.
game
It was
worked.
yeah. I mean, I didn't know anything about it, but I think one of the things that it did is it showed that a good experience does so much more than hardware and graphics.
Yeah, like three midair dashes is like exactly the right number of midair dashes.
Hey man, I can drop bombs and do like 6 of those in Metro.
No, I'm just saying, like that's exactly what I want. I have no complaints.
Your number 2 though, I'm not gonna lie. I'm excited to hear about the nostalgia here because uh I well, what is your number 2 so that we can
So
talk about
my number 2 game is Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania. That's taking the first 3 Super Monkey Ball games and squashing them together in a remastered game, which is kind of a theme in things I like to play for some reason. I want to play games from my childhood. And so this game takes me straight back to, I mean, I doubt I played more than 5 hours of the ordinary way of playing this game, like the puzzle challenge of like rolling your ball down a hill and trying to collect the bananas and whatever, make it to the goal. I played some of it and it was fun. But Super Monkey Ball had just excellent mini games. The one that I played the most of in my childhood and that I'm jumped straight back to is like a dogfight mini game where you're like in like a little plane and you're like shooting bananas at each other or whatever. And that game was just sweet. Like we played probably like me and my friends I hung out with that at a GameCube back then, like I don't know, 30 hours of just that mini game. And we tried all the others, had a great time with all the others, but we kept coming back to that same mini game. And that's something I'd like to do, but also like the actual puzzle challenge of it is fun for a single player experience. I was just rarely in a position to play that game single player.
Yeah, we had Super Monkey Ball Deluxe for the Xbox, which I think is the exact same game as the GameCube one, except Deluxe a little bit I think it has a little bit more. I don't know.
More bananas.
Maybe. My family, like me and my little brothers and my older sister, we played that game a lot. Like a lot. I think our favorite was Pool, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Super Monkey Ball Pool was pretty fun. The puzzles were really, really fun too. Super Monkey Ball Golf, I think we did a lot of too.
Yeah.
This one was gonna be one of mine too.
Yeah, the thing that excites me a lot about this game is that the handheld nature of the Switch is just perfect for like this game gives you 2 things in one game. One is like and I actually think that the Switch has some of these challenges where like I actually don't know where to go for like party games and a lot of like mixed company on the Switch, like because like at this point I can't really sit still through a Mario Party. And no one wants to commit to that. And like Smash is great, but often groups have like a pretty big like difference in ability that makes it hard.
Your friends have
awesome.
your friends have a difference in ability.
Friends, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, people in general have a difference of ability in Super Smash Brothers, and it can really impact how much fun they have doing it.
Just turn items on. Don't let the Matt Klings of the world ruin the fun for everybody.
But this game is going to bring an awesome multiplayer mini game experience to everyone, and add just another excellent game into the I'm traveling somewhere and I have my Switch and I want to play a handheld game that's not very intense, not very committing. So I'm going to play Super Monkey Ball.
Yeah, it's funny that both this and the Mario Party All Stars were announced. I want to touch on something really quick because this is 3 games combined, right?
Yeah.
The Mario Party game is, I think, quite a bit of the 64 games combined, but not all of them for the Switch. And I'm first of all, if they had just added those maps and those mini games as DLC to the current Mario Party for the Switch, I would have snap bought it.
Yeah, but a whole new other game, and you're like, whatever.
I'm like, I'm not, because they're gonna charge $60, and I'm not gonna buy it. There's not a world in which I'm paying $60 for a new Mario Party when they didn't even like give me a good like. I love playing Mario Party. Mario Party is my son's favorite game on the Switch. Every day he asks, "Can we play Mario Party?" I'm like, "Buddy, I don't know that we have an hour right now to do that. I mean, like, or however long it's gonna take because of you." But it's funny because like Mario Part, like so the other day he got his mom to play with him, and they just played mini games instead of like actually on the board, and that was really fun for them, and that's probably how we should do that more often.
Yeah.
But I think that for me,
That's always the best part of the game, anyways.
yeah, that's true. I think that the reason I'm so excited for this Monkey Ball is it gives me an opportunity to have my son learn things a little bit differently than Mario teaches them.
Yeah.
Like Monkey Ball does a really good job of like
Throwing you in the deep end and it gets really hard very fast.
I don't think that's. I mean, that's true on the puzzles. I don't know if that's true on the mini games.
Oh, sure.
I think the mini games are going to be interesting for him.
Yeah.
I do think that Monkey Ball, like you said, does a better job of like a fun party game that isn't too long. Mario Kart really does do a good job of that. Like Mario Kart is
Mario
like
Kart's great.
um
I do love Mario Kart, but it is pretty much like Mario Kart, right? Like I think that at this point, it's awesome. Racing games are great, but like when you buy Mario Kart, you're getting a fantastic racing game. You're not getting a diverse suite of party games, right?
you're not getting a fantastic racing game. You're getting a Mario Kart. To be clear,
Best racing game they've ever made.
Wow. All right. Let's before we move on, because I think we want to switch up so that you're giving your number one because everybody knows what it is. I want to say something really quickly about the disappointment that people had with Super Monkey Ball, because when they showed the bananas, everybody thought they were going to give you a new Donkey Kong game, and so people got mad. And don't let the salt of others not getting Donkey Kong, which would have been sweet. Like a new Donkey Kong game would have been awesome. Don't let it distract you. Like if you have not tried Super Monkey Ball, it is a lot of fun. It's a puzzle game with a bunch of mini games and a party game all rolled into one. It is a great time. And so
it's not even a little bit serious. Like not a little bit of this game is trying to be serious, and that's perfect. It's fantastic in that regard. And I don't think I would have taken a new Donkey Kong over a new Super Monkey Ball game. So hats off to you people.
Yeah, I mean, the other problem is they charge us full price for Tropic Freeze, even though it's out on the Wii U port, which is so annoying.
Hey, they have to recoup all of the development costs from failing games on the Wii U.
It's so crazy. It's so crazy. Anyway, let's talk about your number one, because this is a remake of a really successful game franchise that is beloved and was maybe the second biggest surprise of E3.
I mean, I definitely 0% would have been able to predict this one coming. No one could have. And it's sweet. Obviously, you all know what it is because we've been talking about it the whole time, but we're very excited about Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp. It's going to be awesome. Any complaints you hear anyone have about the art style is hilarious, because if you were playing Advanced Wars for the art style and the sweet, intense graphics you're getting, well, you're also going to be mad about Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum later this year. So you can just sit down. But this game's going to be sweet in that it was already two fantastic games, and now it gets to be on the best handheld device of all time.
Yeah, so it's interesting, right? Because this was like the game you talked about on our Game Boy Advanced episode, or like our like back when it was me, you, Mason, and Mikey. Like Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, and Advance Wars were like your jam. Yeah. And like the idea of holding a Game Boy SP and playing these games was like your muse.
I'm leaving this podcast right now, everyone, because I got work to do.
You're like, where's my SP? I gotta go play.
Mine currently has Pokemon TCG in it instead, and that's almost sweeter. So like, there's so.
When are we doing that? Well, we should spoil that for we're doing that soon for the listeners, aren't we?
Heck yeah, we are.
I actually don't know what is that next week.
This podcast is now about Pokemon TCG.
No.
Everyone.
Here's the thing. I actually never played these.
Yeah.
But so sell it to me.
Did you play any like tactic style games on the Game Boy Advance growing up? Any Fire Emblem? Any Final Fantasy?
So what do you think the first two games that I put on this were?
Final Fantasy Tactics Advance.
Yes.
and Fire Emblem Sacred Stones.
Yes.
Sweet, sweet.
They're
Okay,
also
so-
the only 2 Game Boy Advanced games that I still own. Like,
Okay.
they're in my house right. I don't even have a Game Boy Advanced or an SP right now because I lost it during a move, but I still have those games.
Yeah, they're great games. But I'll tell you, I think that part of the there's actually this funny duality I think that a lot of people have where like if like Fire Emblem is kind of the way you got introduced to these games, you find it harder to approach, like harder to go from like every unit is priceless. I cannot lose a unit. I will make sure their stats are great to mech spam, haha, lol. That's a hard transition. The opposite also is a kind of a hard transition. I had a hard time going from what do you mean I can't sacrifice my units for the greater good? To like that, it was hard for me to like go from an Advanced Wars style of game where like I'm playing with like one character on any given map and I'm making it all about like.
Do you think that they'll have Fire Emblem mode on this new version?
What do you mean?
So like in the new Fire Emblem, right? You can go on on 3 houses. You can play, you know, live life and death,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
Or you can which is Fire Emblem mode, right? Like I remember the first time I lost a unit in Sacred Stones, I was like, wait a second.
Okay, but can I build more Hildas?
Okay, so that's the thing. I don't know anything about this game. You got to sell it to me.
Okay, so Advanced Wars, it is. First disclaimer: it takes war, a very serious issue of real life, and makes it hilariously cartoonish and like totally disconnects you from the cost of war. That is probably the first thing that needs to be disclaimed about this game, and that it does not a very accurate depiction of war. But after that, it's a fantastic strategy game. So the idea is that you are playing any given map as a commander who has their own strengths and weaknesses, things they're good at, things they're bad at, and like a power bar that you can be charging up to do some effect at either in Advance Wars 2 at either like a halfway or a full, like a max power. And you're fighting with a variety of units that you earn an income based on the amount of property you control on the map, and you purchase units with that income from like a few different types of unit producing tiles. And then the goal of the map is you're trying to match up your units best against what your opponent's doing and that opponent's strengths and weaknesses to try and slowly creep across the map, take their territory, gain an income advantage, and then either capture their headquarters with one of your infantry, or just squash all of their units. But it's very relaxing, very much kind of slow paced, so like you don't have to be paying a ton of attention. It's a great game to play like while you're watching anime, because there's like if you have animations on, you really can just wait. Like you'll attack a unit, there'll be like the whole animation, which is fun. I like them. They're really cute. They get repetitive.
Give me a difficulty range. Like did you play Into the Breach?
Into the Breach, easier than Into the Breach.
That's good, because that's like the hardest version of any of these games that I've ever played.
Into the Breach is one of the hardest games I've ever played. Absolutely.
I was like, I think I got like 4 levels into the Breach. I was like, I'm not doing, like, this is too hard.
Yeah, you have to think very hard about Into the Breach. Advanced Wars, there are definitely maps where things can be pretty difficult, and you do have to think pretty far in advance, and you do have to like make certain windows before you fall behind to do things. However, often games are just, the worse you play, the longer it drags out, but eventually you'll be able to throw enough weight at your opponent to win.
So is it like Fire Emblem 3 Houses easy mode, or is it harder than that, or easier than that?
In the campaign, it is definitely harder than easy mode. It can get really hard. Black Hole 2, Advance Wars 2 Black Hole Rising had a hard campaign.
Okay.
But
so it's probably like Sacred Stones hard? Or easier than that. It looks like it's easier than that from
You
your
can't
face.
grind, right? Sacred Stones had the advantage of being able to grind.
To go to the
There's
tower.
no grinding in this game, right? You're
Yeah, but it doesn't sound like you need to, right? Because you just purchase the units.
Yeah, it's totally. You just redo maps a lot. Is what you do when you lose. It's not.
Dude, I do that in Sacred Stones the second I lose a unit. So.
Yeah. It's not like when you're losing a unit. It's when things are clearly like the tides have turned and you're starting to lose ground. However, it's a good game and definitely can be challenging, but also there's lots of like arcade style modes or just setting up the map. And there's even a map builder, which I've always thought was really fun. When this game first got described to me when I was like 9 or 10 years old, I was just like, whoa, you can make a map and you fight with tanks. And it was just out of the world, like cool to me at the time.
Yes. So really quick. Oh, go ahead.
Just fallen in love with the game. The characters are really cool. I'm hoping that they keep a lot of the balance of the game as it was, because my favorite codes, just for my play style in Advanced Wars, happen to be some of the most busted ones anyways. So I'm hoping things stay pretty similar.
That's awesome. That's awesome. This one comes out December 3rd. Super Monkey Ball comes out October 5th. And WarioWare comes out September 10th. All of yours come out this year.
I'm going to have a great time in the fall, right as I'm trying to do school. It's going to be perfect.
Yeah, you're going to have to come play Super Monkey Ball with Maxwell. That would be a good time for him.
Heck yeah.
I don't think I said it, but Metroid also comes out this year. It comes out October 8th. The next one is the only one on this list that actually doesn't come out this year.
That has a date.
That has a definitive date too. Like they know when they're trying to release this.
They slammed that one into the trailer too.
And I want to talk about something kind of before this, because there's been a little bit of backlash for this game, for the announcement that happened with this game, and I just want to quickly cover something. The number of gatekeepers that were like, you're not a real gamer if you're not a PlayStation gamer, over the past, however many years it's been, was just
I've never been a real gamer.
Toxic. Like, it's like, oh, you play Switch or Xbox, you're not a real gamer because you can't play Spider-Man, because you can't play God of War, because like you can't play these exclusive games. And so the second that another company's like, all right, fine, we're gonna buy studios and we're gonna make their games exclusive, and all of a sudden people are just like foaming at the mouth mad.
Xbox has had exclusive games forever.
I know, but they didn't.
No one has ever complained.
They didn't.
Oh my god, I can't play Halo on my PlayStation.
Xbox did not have exclusives with the Xbox One. They didn't. They had, I think it was just basically Halo 5, and was Witcher 3 even? It's not even exclusive to that. You can play it on the Switch. Like, they just didn't have exclusives. Red Dead Redemption came out for both systems. Like, there were non-exclusives, and so because of that, people were like, basically gatekeeping gaming through owning a PlayStation and through being a PlayStation.
Do you think that's why people scalped the PlayStation 5, is so they could gatekeep it harder?
I mean, dude, do you know how hard I'm trying to get an Xbox right now?
I believe it's probably pretty hard.
I check every single day, multiple times a day. I follow accounts that tell me it's been in my cart multiple times, and by the time I check out, it's gone. So we don't need to get into this because I get super mad.
Super Monkey Ball mad?
Madder than Super Monkey Ball mad. So
the game Monkey Ball not mad.
The game I want to talk about is Starfield, and I want to preface this by saying that Morrowind is one of my favorite games of all time. It is I think it's Elder Scrolls 3.
Morrowind is 2.
No, it's not. It's 3.
Isn't Oblivion 3?
No, Oblivion's 4.
I don't know anything then.
Elder Scrolls 3 is Morrowind.
Okay.
It was the first.
You're smart, I'm dumb.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
You didn't. I did.
I just said it was one of my favorite games of all time, and then you questioned me as if it was 3 or not.
Like I said,
I feel like you were destined to be wrong here. Like,
why would somebody do this?
I just like, you're like, no, that was 2. I'm like, no, it wasn't though. Anyway, so Morrowind is like one of my favorite games of all time.
Oh
And
yeah, Oblivion's 4.
yeah, did you just look at it?
I just look at the box.
You just looked at the box? You're a dork. And I actually didn't own an Xbox 360 growing up because my family, like, because my family was, we got one console per generation, and I was bad with money when I had a job.
You were right to have a GameCube, obviously.
We didn't. We went
N64 to...
So we went NES, SNES, N64, Xbox, Wii. Yeah. Mistakes were made.
It's always a mistake.
You know what, though? My little brothers love Mario Galaxy, and good for them.
Great game.
Yeah. Man, there was some real salt in my voice there. So it's funny because when I look at Oblivion, a game that I didn't get to play until way after it came out, I remember reading like Game Informer and like reading reviews of Oblivion and just being like, I need to play this game. And then Skyrim came out and I got to watch people play it. I personally did not. I played Skyrim at Oasis Games in their back room on the big screen TV that we had back there when I worked there. That's like how I played Skyrim for the first time. I own Skyrim now for something. What do I own it for? I own it. No, I actually don't own it for Switch. My brother owned it for Switch, and the furthest I got in the game was through his cartridge. But Skyrim wasn't it for me. I know it's like been released 1,000 times. It's like people's favorite. But for some reason it wasn't. It didn't do it for me. Like it felt like, I don't know. It wasn't what I was looking for.
Every time I have the impulse to play Skyrim, I remind myself that I still haven't finished Dragon Age Origins, and I'm like, oh, I should do that instead.
Sure. Starfield looks different. It looks
spacey.
Spacey helps, but also it seems like they're actually focusing a little bit on story this time. They're focusing on narrative as well as still giving you that freedom that you get out of who you are as a character. And this game comes out 11/11/22 and will be an Xbox exclusive. And honestly, it's a little bit refreshing, in all honesty, to see, BioWare just came out with the Mass Effect Legendary Edition, and it's a little bit refreshing to see people go like, okay, so we're not going to be Destiny. We need to go back to these RPGs that are... I mean, I think the success of Red Dead Redemption 2 also helped this for what it's worth. But, like, going back to narrative-driven RPGs and RPGs that are... let you drive the story or let you drive the narrative... I think that that's coming back, and it's funny because like I think that oftentimes people try too hard to like mix things. So like Breath of the Wild is the perfect example. People love calling that game an RPG. That is an action adventure game with some RPG elements, and I think that action adventure is a great platform, but it's not what I look for in video games. I look for this. I don't know, the story, but that where
Super
my
Monkey Ball dogfight minigame. That's what I want in video games.
And Starfield really seems to have what I'm looking for, and that I've missed. I'm sure I'm going to be disappointed because I'm always disappointed in these.
You have a year and a half to build this one up in your mind.
Hey man, they're going to announce KOTOR 3 before then, and I'm going to lose my mind.
And you're going to move on and just going to be like, oh yeah, Starfield's coming out.
Yeah, it'll be great. That's true. Also, once I get into once I get an Xbox, Game Pass just has so much stuff on it. But yeah, Starfield is it's a game that was previously announced. It's announced that it's an Xbox exclusive, but we got to see more. The trailer was really good. If you haven't watched it to understand the what they're putting into this and like what they're trying to achieve, it's really cool. It's a new direction for this company, and it's one that I'm really excited to experience.
That sounds sweet. If you haven't been able to get an Xbox Series X, I don't stand a chance of getting an Xbox Series X.
The thing is I could buy a Series S tomorrow, but
Series X is what I heard, right?
Right. I'm saying I could just go buy a Series S. Like, my TV's just 4K. Like, I don't need... And like, I'm blind anyway, so, like, graphics don't matter to me. But the problem is that, like, I want the disc drive so that I don't need to hook up multiple Xboxes to play my current collection. And the Xbox Series X is backwards compatible.
Yeah, see? That's what I need also. So, so that I can finally play KOTOR on an Xbox Series X is what I'm going to need to play
So
KOTOR,
what you need is Spencer to get an Xbox Series X so that you can play his Xbox One to play KOTOR.
And there's so many games on the Xbox One I haven't played. This sounds perfect, Spencer.
Exactly.
I love this plan.
You know what? You put that in your cart. I'll give you my credit card. You get it for me, Wes.
I will have lost it by the time I ask you for your credit card. You should just give me your credit card now and just see what happens.
There you go. Exactly. That's gonna do it. How did you feel about the C3 before we wrap up?
Well, I was at the beach, so I kind of I heard about all of it kind of after the fact, right? Like for me, it was like a mixture of like you telling me like, "Yo, there's an Advanced Wars game, that's sweet," and I was like, "Yeah, that's sweet." Or like I didn't learn about the Super Monkey Ball thing until I listened to someone else's podcast about E3, and that was awesome. I was super stoked about that. So for me, it was like I am thrilled to hear about all these games, but like the experience of E3 was I kind of missed that.
Yeah, I watched part of Xbox's and I watched all of Nintendo's. It kind of said that they were doing work. Like I had to like be doing documentation. Like I literally blocked out Nintendo's to do documentation while it was on the other screen.
Yeah.
You know what? It's funny how much salt there is in gaming because they like want things that like they just build things up too much in their mind. There were good surprises.
I want nothing in gaming, right? That's if you've learned anything about me, I'm not very picky and I don't play that many games. So like, it's just that like I don't have the attention span for it, and I just want to play more Magic anyways.
Sure.
I always am thrilled by what video games are coming out. Never disappointed.
I think that for me, this E3 was there is a legitimate reason now coming for me to have. We didn't even mention Halo Infinite. That looked so sweet. There is a legitimate reason for me to get an Xbox Series X instead of the. I mean, I still have the original Xbox One sitting behind me. Like, I didn't get the newer ones. Like I said, I'm blind. Like, graphics don't matter to me. But there are legitimate reasons for me to get this Xbox Series X. And then I think Metroid, Breath of the Wild 2, Super Monkey Ball, Advanced Wars, they all excite me. Like there's a lot of. There was also I think it was an RPG that we didn't mention that they were gonna let you play the demo and your save file was gonna move over. I love it when Nintendo does that.
Yeah, you're a big fan of that for sure. What game was it that was true for? Was that
Pokemon Mystery Dungeon
Dragon
did that.
Quest?
Dragon Quest lets you do the first 10 hours on Switch, which
Do you keep trying to get me to do?
I mean, it's on Xbox Game Pass too, for what it's worth.
Oh, okay.
So, that game's just on Game Pass. I literally played that game today, by the way. Anyway, that's gonna wrap us up. E3 was great this year. It's nice to have these type of things back. I'm excited. I'm excited for the future of gaming. And yeah, anything you want to say before we say goodbye?
Join us next year for E4.
That's not how that works.
Join us next year for E360.
You can find me at Spencer H. You can find West at East_monotone. You can find the show at Need to Nerd Pod. Give us a like if you're watching on YouTube. Hit that sub button. And honestly, the number one thing you can do for this show right now is leave a review. I actually had a dream about people leaving reviews. for this podcast the other day. So if you have the chance to do it, make my dreams come true and leave a good review. Thank you, everybody, so much for listening. I really, really appreciate y'all. I'm stalling because I'm trying to bring up specifically what we're talking about next week.
It's...
Oh, man!
Oh, man.
We will be talking about Star Wars prequel trilogy next week. So, if you are ready to talk about sand and how it's coarse, we'll see you guys
Oh my god, we made that reference so many times last week, me and my cousins.
We'll see you guys on next week for another episode of the Need to Nerd podcast.
2021 is really all about that take a banana, leave a banana energy.